Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the US Challenger series powered by Kaostv. Should be going into the game between British Tea Time and Absolute Legends in just 1 second. In fact, it should be up on your screen. Fair warning at this point, for the duration of Champion Select only. I say this a lot, but for the duration of Champion Select only. Actually, wait, no, that's not a problem today. I completely forgot. I'm actually in the lobby this time. I'll be on time. But I will be solo casting for a while. Hopefully at some point Broken Shard will turn up and we will have 2 casters, but for now you get to hear a lot of me, and we have some bans coming out at the moment. Zac and Thresh have already been banned. It's pretty standard, to be honest. I mean, Zac, I'm actually a little bit surprised to see that ban coming out of British Tea Time, because I know the JNT Taylor really likes to play him, and they do have that first pick available to them, but obviously just wanting to avoid giving that option to the enemy. Also banning out that Draven. I know Snifify plays a crazily good Draven, and obviously in the right hands Draven can pull out some incredibly strong plays. Have also now got that Twisted Fate ban. Pretty standard, obviously. Thresh and Twisted Fate are just really strong generalist picks at the moment, and that is super scary to have to deal with. It's gonna be interesting to see what goes up next. We have got the Shen ban. Again, just generally very solid. Banning out that global mobility, banning out that, really strong tank jungler, does quite a lot of damage in Zac, has that mobility as well. It's generally seems to be the theme at the moment, is just banning out this kind of top tier of characters, which seems to have appeared in the last couple of patches actually. Up until recently we had a very strong setup. And I think I may, instead of having Broken Shard today, I'm going to be joined by at least for a while Dignitas Stress. So, hello.
Hello, indeed. I heard on the stream you were solo casting for the moment, so I thought I'd come and join you out, at least until Broken Shard will come and cast the game that I thought we were going to end up with him casting with you, but nevertheless, I am happy to jump into this one with you. So we are in Champion Select. This time I will be the one casting from the stream for a teeny little bit until we get into game.
Well, fortunately for you, I am actually in the lobby for a change, so I can actually let you know what has happened roughly on time, and then you can give me your thoughts. We have actually got that Lissandra being the last ban out there, and we are still waiting on British Tea Time. Looking for their first pick here. There are a few options open here, and in fact they go with Zed.
Zed is a champion that has been banned out quite a lot. They're normally the team that are banning it out away from people, and it's quite surprising for it to get through here. A champion that in pretty much all levels of competition doesn't see a lot of play. I mean, you look at people like Insect who have played Zed to amazing effect out of the jungle, but I know these guys are pretty competent up in the top lane and in the mid lane as well with champions like Zed. So we'll see exactly how this pans out. Jarvan, I have seen, has been picked up by Absolute Legends, and that's a champion that we've seen played a lot over the past couple of days.
Yeah, Jarvan and Elise have been locked in now, so that's going to be pretty solid, setup. It does look like they're going to be running Elise not as a jungler, which is currently seems to be her most preferred role. Actually, she is still a fairly strong top lane, still a fairly strong mid and support role as well, but obviously not going to be going for that jungle today. Can't really abuse that repel for its mobility, and obviously her executes damage and stun, which make her a very strong ganker. We do also now have that Sona and Varus lock-in coming in from British Tea Time.
Yeah, and I've just seen that the hover over now from Snifify, I think that's how you say it, looking for that Ezreal pickup, which we saw just about in every game yesterday, and pretty much any game, other than OGN earlier actually. We didn't see a lot of Ezreal earlier today, but we've seen Ezreal played in so many games with that blue Ezreal build. Although we did see against Animate yesterday, British Tea Time were able to combat that blue Ezreal build by pretty much just pushing it back as far as possible into the game, and they just ended up running away with the game. Have we had any more lock-ins on the side of Absolute Legends, Buddington?
We should be seeing them just now. We have actually now got the Ezreal lock-in and the Lulu lock-in. And yeah, the blue build with Ezreal is pretty... I think I saw an article actually relatively recently on Reign of Gaming, which crunched the numbers, as they say, and I think it worked out that until you hit like 5 damage items on an AD carry, you're actually not getting that much more out of that build. standard build in terms of damage as compared to the blue build on Ezreal, although obviously they do have lifesteal available to them and might have a little bit more burst on some abilities, but obviously yes, we have now got that Ezreal Lulu lock-in, and hovering over Nautilus, in fact locking in Nautilus and hovering finally with Cook My Sock appropriately. Oh, actually no, locking in Diana, not going for Ahri.
Really? He's not showing the Ahri this game. Okay, that was interesting. This is one of the first games we've seen that Ahri has been available, that Cook My Sock hasn't gone for that. Ahri, of course, has had fantastic results for the past couple of weeks. And Absolute Legends this week have kind of come out from... I don't want to say nowhere, because Absolute Legends are a name that have been in the scene for so very long, but this particular lineup aren't all that known, and yesterday they took out TCM. Of course, TCM were over in the LCS promotion qualifiers, and they've had a couple of different little changes to their lineup, but TCM were a team that people were expecting to do very well this week in the tournament, and Absolute Legends coming out of pretty much nowhere and beating them 2-1, and fairly surprising result. Now they come up against the winners of last week in British Tea Time.
Yeah, British Tea Time have been looking really, really strong, actually. Across the board, actually. I mean, I don't think they've dropped a game in the past, 7, 8, 9 games?
9
Something
games
like that.
They're on now. It's an impressive
9-game
win
streak. Impressive indeed. But we have actually got the Nidalee lock-in as the final pick there from Absolute Legends, so looking like they're going for quite the poke, quite the disengage composition there.
Yeah, this is a very similar build to what we saw out of... yeah, we had both teams that played yesterday, and unfortunately would go on to lose. Animate ended up running a team composition very similar to this, and actually it wasn't a loss in the first series today. I'm pretty sure when they played Nidalee, they ended up turning it around. That was Tricked yesterday, wasn't it? And they go on to face Heimerdinger Colossi, but why they've picked up the Nidalee here is when you're going this blue Ezreal build, which I'm assuming they're going to, the Iceborne Gauntlet procs and also some of the other slows that you get from red buff allow Nidalee to hit her spears far more often, because anytime you get a slow, it reduces the movement speed, ends up being easier to hit those projectile skill shots. So that's kind of what we're looking out for here in this game coming from Absolute Legends. But yesterday we did see British Tea Time shut this type of composition down.
Yeah, and obviously I do have to say British Tea Time do have some pretty good tools for that. They do have depth charge, obviously they have that double dash potential from Diana, and obviously Zed, once he sticks to someone, it's difficult to get off. Still, we are going to be moving into a quick commercial break while we wait for the delay timer to move down, so we'll be joining you again in just 1 second, and we will be right back.
There's something building in the air. I can feel it, I can feel it. It's pressing down on me and I can barely breathe. Oh, can you feel it? And I'm surrounded everywhere.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the semi-finals here between British Tea Time and Absolute Legends. I am still joined by Stress, who has kindly filled in since Brokenshot has not yet turned up, but I think we should be good to go in just a second. Loading screen is currently on my screen. Stress, how are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Just, as I said, thought I'd swing by and give you a hand here for this game until Brokenshard is ready to cast. And we're heading in towards British Tea Time against Absolute Legends. I have just loaded into the game myself. I was a little bit late on that, but we are into game now anyway. And I've got to say, I kind of have the same feeling yesterday as that game against Animate, where British Tea Time, I feel, have somewhat been outpicked slightly. Mainly to do with the current meta and the team composition that Absolute Legends have got. But we saw yesterday that even against what I considered to be a better team composition, didn't really face British Tea Time, and they got into their swing of things, ended up taking kills across the map, and pretty much just took the game home from there. So we'll see exactly whether they can do that against this team, because Absolute Legends, as we said yesterday, proved that they are a very strong team taking out TCM.
Yeah, I would say though they do have some quite literally unstoppable engagement potential. They do have Nautilus, who is, I mean, king of making, that dodgy Ezreal actually get knocked up after all, because he just puts depth charge on him, and at that point he's going to be knocked up. He can still put distance between, he can still slow down the enemy, but he's going to get knocked up, and it does mean that there's quite a lot of potential to make something happen from that. Especially considering how much follow-up CC British Tea Time have. They have that Crescendo, they have that Diana with the Moonfall, they have obviously got Chain of Corruption too, so there's a lot of potential. I'm not going to say that they've been horrendously outpicked here. It's going to come down again, as so often with these poke comps, if they can make it happen before they start to fall too far behind. And we do see an invade here from British Tea Time. They have put down that pink ward near that blue buff there. Just going to be looking to contest this by the looks of it. They are sticking around. Yarostar is scouting out Jarvan. He is going to scout in return with that flag. We have got the Lulu poke coming down. A little bit of damage coming out from both sides. Genty Taylor has actually started the blue. Not sure I like this plan. They are actually in turn going to be retreating away from this. There is a ward behind them though. Genty Taylor goes with a flash auto attack, and he has actually rooted Bano, but it's not going to be enough to get the kill. We have in turn now got damage coming down across. British Tea Time are a little bit ahead in terms of damage, but they aren't far enough that they can tank the blue buff. Meanwhile, all this is going on. We have actually got Elise going down very low. Ignite popped by Zed. It looks like British Tea Time are looking to go for the smite steal here. They have actually got High Switch picking that up in the end. Genty Taylor just going to be backing on out. And both sides there, not really achieving too much for each other.
Yeah, it didn't work out all that well for either jungler. I mean, overall, Absolute Legends will take that because they ended up securing their own buff and everybody was delayed to lane other than the top laners, but Genty Taylor's going to be a little bit annoyed there. Normally what will happen in that kind of situation is one team will decide to back off, and Absolute Legends this time decided that they didn't want to go, and neither really did British Tea Time, so it's pretty much a gamble by both teams. Neither team was really in the right there, and they just stood their ground, and the smite battle was won by Absolute Legends, but they had the slightly easier time of it. They were a little more secure around the buff, so that puts Taylor a little bit behind, but we've seen in these situations where that kind of thing has happened. That he's, a competent jungler when it comes to making his way back. That top lane now is being focused by High Switch. He has picked up his red buff as well, so Nitrix is going to be able to get out of there by using that Shadow. Does get knocked up by the Demacian Standard. Ignite is ticking as well. Will those Spiderlings be able to get on for the kill? Nitrix going to try and put down some damage behind the tower, but that is going to be the first blood going to Odamna.
Yeah, obviously very nicely played there by absoluteLegends. It does feel to me, though, as if Nitrix could have potentially kept just running, but instead he tried to turn it around, tried to turn it into a one-for-one trade. Maybe he feared that Elise would have the movement speed on him in the long run and might just get in range for that Neurotoxin, which would have finished him off. But it's going to be James Taylor picking up his own blue buff now. He is actually only level 2 at 4 minutes, whereas his counterpart Jarvan is actually level 4. Has obviously picked up some XP in that top lane. Is also clearing his own jungle much more efficiently. And James Taylor in a battle to the death with his blue buff. Nitrix has come to help him out with that. A little bit close for comfort there. He's going to be okay in the end. But I would like to draw your attention here to bottom lane, because it does seem to me like British Tea Time are winning out here.
Yeah, this is something we've seen recently with these blue Ezreal builds, is they end up getting put a little bit behind on CS, but that tends not to matter a lot when you get into the mid game. It looks like Smokey Lemon wants to go on the aggressive. But going back to that opening, I think it may have even been down to very good scouting out by absoluteLegends. As you can see, Jarvan has come up into top lane as well. We saw yesterday British Tea Time do that very similar invade in both games against Animate. And Animate put the ward down similarly to absoluteLegends. Nitrix is going to get dropped quite low again. Got to be very careful. Does he have flash available? No, it is still down from the earlier engagement. So High Switch obviously helping out Odamna here quite a bit. They obviously aren't favouring that Zed versus Elise matchup, and Nitrix is, well, he's about 10 CS ahead, so Jarvan is required up there to make sure that lane keeps going in the way of absoluteLegends.
Yeah, and Snipify dropping very, very low in that bottom lane. He's going to be okay, but he's definitely getting pushed around at the moment. We have got J&T Taylor coming in through the lane at top. The lane will push out in turn, and it does look like we could see the gank going under the tower almost. Nautilus does have Dredge line available. Is he going to go for this? That's the question, because I feel like the danger is it's going to be at the tower for such a long time that J&T Taylor will waste a lot of time trying to make this happen, only for then Elise to repel out. And I've got to keep an eye on this bottom lane, because at any second there could be a misstep and that would result in Ezreal dying. But
yeah, Taylor's flash is still down as well, so if they do go under the turret, they have to full commit and hope that Nitrix is tanking the first couple of turret shots, and then they can get rid of it. Taylor actually shows himself. Looks like they just want to push their lane out. He wants to make sure he gets at least some attacks off this lane. Jarvan has come down into this bottom lane as well. No ward out for British Tea Time quite yet. Looks like they burned through all of their wards in that earlier skirmish around blue buff. There is the Demacian Standard. Yarostar has to be careful here. No crescendo yet. Nidalee has dropped down as well, so 4 people all focusing on this bottom lane. Looks like Yarostar just admits that he was going to get killed there in that exchange. And 2-0 in favour of absoluteLegends already here at 6 minutes into the game.
Yeah, they're taking a dominating lead at the moment, and that is a really impressive feat. Obviously, British Tea Time were last week's champions, and they have made some really good plays in the laning phase before, but it's going to be interesting to see if they can pull this back. They do obviously have very good scaling on almost every single one of their characters in terms of damage, but the question is going to be whether they can put that damage down composition-wise. It's going to be difficult against that disengage and against that poke in the mid game. So we have got J&T Taylor at top. He is going to land that anchor. He's going to have the Zed follow up. We've got the damage coming down. The death mark will proc, and it does actually pick up J&T Taylor. So that's not really what Nitrix wanted, I suspect.
No, they definitely wanted that kill to pretty much go straight over to either Nitrix or Taylor. That will give Taylor a little bit of help in the fact that he's picked up an assist there. Still, British Tea Time playing off the back foot. It's only about 300 gold difference, so British Tea Time have, got themselves leads in lane with regards to minion kills so far, but the kills on the actual champions are going in favour of absoluteLegends. We've seen British Tea Time put on the back foot a couple of times. We haven't seen absoluteLegends play all that much yet, and I'm very interested to see whether they're a team that can snowball a small lead like this.
Going to be interesting to see, but it's actually such a significant CS lead between the two teams that the gold is now frankly insignificant between the two teams. We have Medjai Soulstealer picked up by Nidalee there, so going for that play that he went with against TCM yesterday in the second game, and we have got the bottom tower falling now. Eurostar and smokeyLegends have put down a lot of pressure, and that actually puts British Tea Time into the lead. They are not really behind at the moment, but again, it's just going to be interesting to see in the mid game, because I feel like the laning phase is almost going to be irrelevant.
Yeah, and that's especially with this type of team setup, that you've got a team fighting team setup from British Tea Time, and then pretty much a control and poke team setup coming out from absoluteLegends. And it's a little bit deceptive how the game looks right now. It really is going to end up depending on how Elise can snowball those 2 kills into either more kills or just more pressure around the map. That bot lane turret hasn't been pressed all that much by Ezreal and Lulu, and it looks like smokeyLegends and Eurostar are going to focus on the mid lane. Dredgeline's just going to get dodged by the pounce there by Bano, and you could see that they've now switched their pressure up. Diana's going to drop down to that bottom lane. British Tea Time pretty much admitting that they need to end up taking more pressure around the map, and they've focused it here in the mid lane.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting now to see if Jarvan makes anything happen in the top lane. No, obviously a ward there is going to stop that from happening. smokeyLegends in this mid lane, he is... Depending on how many spears Bano lands, it's going to be interesting to see how many spears. Every single time a spear happens, it can be potentially game-changing here. That's kind of going to be the play in this lane for now, because all it's really going to take is maybe 2 spears and then, a Cougar form follow-up, and any member of British Tea Time would be down for the count. So the question is whether Bano can actually land those spears and whether he can get that snowball rolling with the spears and the Medjais later on. Abyss, you are going to be walking into this mid lane. It's looking like we're almost going to be seeing Ezreal looking to freeze the lane at bot. CookMySock turning up there. He might actually go for this. He has got his ult available. He's not going to be going for it in the end, though.
Yeah, and Snipify is pretty much playing scared in that bot lane. Diana's a pretty scary champion to go against, especially when you got double Dorans and that Fiendish Codex. It's going to allow that extra cooldown reduction and give that extra health and AP as well. I think the Medjais is actually a very ambitious choice here by Nidalee. I think when British Tea Time spot that Bano has got a Medjais, they're going to focus a lot of attention onto shutting down that Nidalee. And Nidalee's going to be a very crucial champion as this plays on, because that's where a lot of their damage is going to come before any major team fights. So just have to be a little bit careful about letting Nidalee snowball this one away.
At the moment, though, British Tea Time is taking a lot of early pushing advantages. They are doing a lot of damage. We've actually got Nitrix in the top lane in a lot of trouble here. He has got Odam, and we also High Switch going under the tower with Odam backing out, though. So we actually have Zed ult going down on High Switch. He's potentially got the turnaround here. He's going to land the auto attack. That will pick up the kill on Jovan, but can he get out? There is an awkward moment where Cataclysm is just blocking off both of them, and now Nitrix has got the repel on him. He is just going to go down. No 2 words to be said about that, but mid tower is going to go down, and British Tea Time are moving on Dragon.
Yeah, and if they don't actually have a pink ward available, so this could be a tricky time for them here. Let's have a look at the health on the champions that are incoming. Nidalee doesn't have the most amount of mana, and with a tier that is only, well, it's about a third of the way stacked. I was going to say only, but that's some decent stacking coming out already from Bano. True Shot Barrage is going to clip through. Yarostar has to be careful not to get caught out here, but British Tea Time, this is what we're talking about, have managed to turn the game on its head a little bit here by taking down those 2 turrets. They've been pretty good on keeping on top of the pressure. After those first little ganks out of Taylor in the top lane, they've put Nitrix to a point where with that Bilgewater Cutlass, he was kind of able to hold his own. He's got himself a small CS lead. And then as long as he's not dropping kills all that often to Elise, it's not going to be the biggest problem in the world. And they focused their attention on bot tower and mid tower and got 2 very good global objectives for themselves already. That's opened up the Dragon Pit for them, and they've been able to take that at about 12 minutes into the game.
So now the question is, obviously we have got a pause coming out here. Apparently it's because lag on CookMySock. Difficult to know exactly what's causing that, but hopefully they'll be able to get that resolved fairly shortly. And we have got a good long pause here. Question from Snipify, is he restarting the router or something? Nah, he'll be 10 sec. Okay, so no huge problems here. We'll be getting underway. Just 1 second. Yeah, I'm interested to see And again, I will say British Tea Time right now are setting themselves up well. They've taken that dragon, they've taken that gold advantage, and obviously they're taking towers, which is quite important against this poke comp because it gives them much less secure places to retreat to. But I'm going to be curious if once they've kind of lost this momentum, once they've stopped getting these broken up fights, and Cook My Sock is now going in mid lane, he is actually kind of walking into 4, has to flash out as a result. That's an interesting decision there. If they can really actually stand up to the poke engage, if they can, to the poke comp, if they can then actually make that engage happen. We have got the anchor coming out, nothing really going to come of it though.
I don't think Cook My Sock was quite aware that Snipify was there. It's kind of ended up working out okay for them in the sense that it delayed the push from Absolute Legends by kind of distracting them for a little bit and allowing Taylor to get to the lane, but again, maybe could have been a little bit of a different path he took to get to the mid lane. Top tower did 4-4 British Tea Time, so that is going to regenerate some of the gold between the two. British Tea Time do have themselves 1,500 gold advantage here. They are down in kills, which is... you know, when you've got a 3-1-0 Elise, it's kind of to be expected because Elise might end up picking more and more kills off that. She's got that Seeker's Arm Guard, which is now fully stacked, has a Giant's Belt as well as a Ruby Crystal, so she's going to be a bit difficult to remove from the map as we go into the next few minutes of the game.
It does feel at the moment, though, like she's having quite a lot of difficulty with actually pushing around Nitrix in that top lane. Just a moment ago, I saw Nitrix pushing the lane up to the top tower, and then as a result of that, backing out, having taken about half of Elise's health off, and then the Jarvan gank came in, wasn't actually able to do anything because Nitrix had already recalled. So it seems at the moment like he is the dominant force in that lane, but we do see Yerostar and Smoky Lemon rotating towards top. It looks like they might want to... put some pressure down here, but in return, we're going to be seeing Snipify, Bano, and Abyss in the mid lane. Jarvan is actually on Yerostar at top. He has put a lot of damage down. Cataclysm goes down. Flash out from Abyss, but not going to help. And Smoky Lemon goes down at the top. Oh, he actually dukes the Demacian. No, it's not the Demacian standard. The lance thing, which throws. But there we have Cook My Sock getting aggressive on high switch now. Going to be taking a lot of damage. Does actually get picked up by Cook My Sock, who is now potentially looking for the Bano kill. Abyss is coming in from the side, though, so he doesn't want to do for this. Now we have got Abyss coming in. Glitter Lance goes down. We've got the slow. We've got the exhaust. JNT Taylor sort of anchor dredging the wall there, but not going to be able to. Ooh, that spear comes very close to Cook My Sock's back.
Yeah, and Taylor was using that dredge line to try and pull himself in front of the spear that was coming. Cook My Sock had it dodged already, but Taylor just making sure that he was protecting them there. And I think that Yerostar and Smoky Lemon were a little bit underestimating the damage and tankiness that Elise has right now. Elise doesn't need the massive AP items, and Bano actually gets a spear through the middle. A little bit of miscommunication there as it went all the way through. Max range is going to pick up that kill. So very nice spear. Snipify actually taken quite low. It looked by the minion. Oh no, it was Nitrix. Sorry, I didn't quite see him sneaking off down the bottom of my screen. Has been taken quite low by High Switch. He is on the chase. Here's the spear, and that's Bano onto 4-0-0. And it turns out that Medjai's Salt Stealer is turning out to be a good pickup here by Nidalee.
Yeah, it's looking like it could end up being a welcome back to leveling up scenario where you get that one guy on the Nidalee who is just so far ahead, doing so well that he will just destroy your entire team with spears, and that is a serious threat with Bano building up AP very quickly now. I think at 6 stacks, it's reaching the point of being efficient, which is getting quite alarming actually, considering how quickly he's been picking up these stacks with really flawless spears actually. I mean, just landing them, threading a needle, but obviously it's going to be interesting to see if he can keep those stacks up. Nidalee is obviously very slippery. He has nearly got that tier, nearly getting it charged. Yerostar loses half his health to a spear, and now we are potentially seeing a convergence of people around this red buff.
Yeah, and we've got to a point in the game where British Tea Time had the lead, but unfortunately for them, there's a lot of damage now coming out of the Absolute Legends team, and I think they're just getting a little bit surprised now. Nitrix does have quite a lot of damage of his own, but it's predominantly in burst, and you can see once again Smoky Lemon up in this top lane is trying to push this through. They've got that turret down by about half health, but another turret has been lost by British Tea Time, and now Absolute Legends have the gold lead. Snipify going on towards Cook My Sock, but Cook My Sock has considerable amount of damage as well, has finished off that Nash's Tooth. So between Smoky Lemon and Cook My Sock, this turret is going to get shredded down, but they are going to lose the inner turret in the middle lane in exchange. So this game is actually dead even on gold after both of those turrets go down. So it's a little bit of a deceptive scoreline on the kills. British Tea Time have done enough to keep the gold even, but the map control is in favor of Absolute Legends. Towers have been falling so quickly in this game. 4 towers down in favor of Absolute Legends, 3 towers down in favor of British Tea Time.
Yeah, the problem that I'm seeing for British Tea Time right now is that Absolute Legends are just building into this roaming death blob, and it's becoming very, very difficult for British Tea Time to make that engage happen. They're having a lot of trouble catching people out. We actually have Nitrix looking for that kill there, and I feel like early on, their strategy has been split push, essentially. They've been having Nitrix go into one lane, having him keep pushing, and then they've been having the Yarrowstar Smoky Lemon combo go into another lane. Bano now potentially looking to jump over the Dragon Wall. If he does this, he is going to be caught out. J&T Taylor knows exactly where he is. Yarrowstar has now jumped on him. We have got the Crescendo, we have got the Anchor, but he's not going to be enough. He has got to the Flash. Depth charge over the wall is dead cat surely here. Maybe not, the dodges the Moonfall. We are actually going to be seeing a Flash coming in from Nitrix. It's not going to be enough. He sets ulting onto Snipify instead. Cook My Sock going quite low, but Nitrix does not pick up that Nidalee.
I think they'll settle for that. They really, really, really wanted to shut down Nidalee and take a lot of those stacks off the Medjais. It is going to be quite stacked here with 4 kills and 1 assist. A needlessly large rod picked up by Nidalee as well. So if those spears were chunking enough health off already, they're going to do even more. Taylor Dredgelines doesn't quite land onto High Switch, does get that staggering blows onto Abyss, and remember, I keep saying this, that is a lot more effective than you'd expect for a 0.75 Immobilize. They managed to pick up that kill, and now they turn their attention onto the inner mid tower of Absolute Legends. They have to be careful though, coming in from behind. They have put a ping on it. Elise is on her way to the tower. It looks like they will be able to pick this one up, but what will it cost them?
Yeah, J&T Taylor is backing out now. He has got the shield. They have actually now got the Hail of Arrows, which will just ward off most of the enemy team. Absolute Legends, though, always have that Nidalee Spear potential. Now got 7 stacks, but 2 more stacks could be coming from just 1 spear in the right place. Nitrix would go down to a single spear. Cook My Sock potentially also is depending on whether he used that shield. And Yarrowstar actually is also kind of in the danger zone on that health. But it looks like the rest of British Tea Time are going to recall, but Absolute Legends are not going to let this happen. Cook My Sock is in the brush, has been actually going aggressive on Odam, who is now just being supported by his team. J&T Taylor potentially caught quite badly out here. He's got a spider on his head, and the spider is biting again and again. He's going to go down. Spear, though, picks it up, and that's another 2 stacks there for Nidalee. 9 stacks now. Dangerous, dangerous territory with the rest of British Tea Time now trying to defend this tower. Can they actually hold this?
Yeah, this is going to be a tricky one, but British Tea Time have good wave clear. They've got the Piercing Arrow, they've got the Crescent Strike out of Diana as well. That's going to be a lot of ability to clear this wave through. They may end up just giving this tower if the pressure is enough from Absolute Legends. And again, it's a very deceptive scoreline. I've said that about 4 times now. I've got to find a new way of saying that. British Tea Time behind on kills. The towers are even, but they find themselves ahead on gold. And really, that's the best measure of who is ahead right now. There are the subtle things like map control, but that is very much so even right now with both of those inner middle towers down. So both teams are showing why, for instance, Absolute Legends took the series yesterday against TCM, and British Tea Time took last week's EU West Challenger Series undefeated.
What I really like about the way British Tea Time are playing this is that they're not allowing that roaming death ball to come up too often. They're not allowing the full poke team to just pressure them down at a tower and play the game that they want to, because the way that Absolute Legends are looking to play in a 5-on-5 scenario is they'll move forward, they'll slowly poke you back, you'll look for an engage, you won't be able to get it because they've just got too much disengage, and you'll get poked down in the process, and then they'll engage with that Jarvan. But right now, that doesn't work so well if they don't have their entire team available. It doesn't work if you've got, only 3 members of there, if you've only got Nidalee for your poke. Well, actually, Nidalee for your poke is enough, but if you've only got Nidalee, then you don't have disengage. If you've only got, Ezreal, you don't have as much damage as you need to be able to just completely destroy them before they can make anything happen. So British Tea Time have been playing a very nice kind of split up roaming game. They've been keeping it mobile, and they have not been allowing that 5-on-5, as I say, death ball of Absolute Legends to fall up and to just slowly grind them down. It does look like they might go for an engagement here, but perhaps not after all.
Yeah, and Bano right now, at 22 minutes into the game, has 335 AP. The Rabadon's Death Cap alongside that Medjai's Soul Stealer is just going to amplify that damage so much. And if the next buy is something like a Void Staff for the magic penetration, Flash Crescendo is going to come out here. Abyss is going to get taken down very quickly, and that is going to be where British Tea Time now feel like they can fight. If they can take that first person out, the amount of wave clear and poke that's going to come out is really now just down to Snipify and Beno, and that means they have a numerical disadvantage going into this fight. Taylor takes a spear, did have the shield on, so he's going to regenerate some of it, and I'm not sure exactly how much British Tea Time are going to be able to do here, and they decide to turn around a bit.
What they're doing now is they're pushing Nitrix to that bot lane, and then they will allow Absolute Legends to kind of force them off the tower, but they won't allow them to go and deal with Nitrix if they can avoid it. They will have Nitrix pushing out that bottom lane. They will then look maybe for an engage as he goes here. It does actually look like they've tracked where Ezreal is. He has jumped over the wall though, so they're not going to be able to find that one out. But now potentially just going to be looking to clear waves before going back. I suspect they are holding on to a bit of gold among them, about 600 each. And that's a fairly significant chunk, but obviously not going to be enough to buy huge components. So it looks like they might stick around for a little while longer. They do have a big wave forming in that top lane. We have Sok not looking for the engagement around the side. Sona actually now potentially getting caught out here. He has got a spider again on his face, and we have got the repel coming out. Yarostar looking to keep himself alive for as long as possible. Zed is putting down a lot of damage, but it does look like the Hugify there from Lulu will keep Odam alive, and Zed actually is going to he's alive, but not for very long. Now he's dead. It does look like British Tea Time beaten fairly resoundingly there.
Yeah, it looked like they just tried to get the wards up there, caught out, and that's really where Absolute Legends are going to want to pick up those types of kills. And somewhat of a shadow advantage from taking down Lulu was there. They actually removed the oracles from the map for Absolute Legends, and she hasn't invested in another one yet. But they are going to go straight for this Baron. They have pink warded the bush and also the Baron pits. They know there's no vision there. J&T Taylor's going to go in, but he has been spotted on that ward. Snipify going to try and defend. Steps on the Nidalee trap as well, so there's going to be a lot of vision on him. Baron is down to about half health. Here comes Cook My Sock from the side. Looks like British Tea Time kind of just want to back out. Muramana has been finished onto Ezreal. There's the killing spree for Odamna, and now they're going to turn back towards Baron. It has regened all the way up to full health again, so they have to start from the very beginning. But again, if British Tea Time go in and they don't clear out this vision, it's going to be fairly easy pickups in the favor of Absolute Legends, especially if they can get any poke off. But Absolute Legends disengage the Baron. British Tea Time disengage from Absolute Legends.
Yeah, British Tea Time actually now looking to take a push. They do know that quite a lot of Absolute Legends are either low on health or low on mana, or both. And we have the anchor from J&T Taylor just whiffing that. Not going to be picking up anyone from that. And we also, by the way, stat counter 11 on Nidalee. No, 12 actually on Nidalee. Actually getting very, very alarming amounts of AP out of a single item that only costs 1200 gold. But British Tea Time are going to be moving towards that dragon. They will be actually spotted out doing that. There is a Nidalee trap effect on J&T Taylor, and the rest of Absolute Legends are converging here. I'm interested to see what comes of this, though, because they don't have much mana on Bano, and the Smoky Lemon getting blown quite heavily up. High Switch is now in the middle of the team, though, and can't really put down the damage. Odam going quite into Smoky Lemon, who is not going to be able to get out of this for long, but he is going to pick up High Switch in the process. Diana is now coming in from the side, is picking up a lot of damage. Snipify going low, has been ignited, but I think he'll live on that health. Well, now J&T Taylor is looking to put down some damage on Odam. The shield procs on who Cook My Sock, who is just going to be okay for now. Repel is up, and the auto attack picks up the Beast kill with the follow-up Q picking up the Ludo.
Okay, so that's a third of the stacks gone now from that Medjai Soul Stealer. But she's in a position where a third of the stacks weren't all that important anymore. Rabadon's Death Cap, you can see the Blasting Wand, I'm assuming, is going towards the Void Staff. That Tier of the Goddess has been fully stacked as well, so there's still going to be a heck of a lot of poke coming out from Nidalee. But she spent so long in the game poking down the team that Diana is actually in a fairly comparative position. 5-2-2 and 234 gold on Diana means she's actually 2,500 gold ahead. And that's a tricky situation, and if Diana's powerful enough now, she's got 3,500 gold, what's she going to buy?
Yeah, so it was an interesting situation that you almost saw an inverse of the way Absolute Legends wanted to play it, because British Tea Time were on that dragon and Absolute Legends really didn't want to let them have it. They were the ones forcing that engagement, and you saw Nidalee, as a result, putting herself a little bit too far forward, getting caught out. You saw Elise and Jarvan jumping onto Smoky Lemon, but they didn't quite have the damage in one spear on Nitrix there. Look at his health. That's still pretty scary, but I will say, though, British Tea Time are playing this still pretty well, but Absolute Legends are also in a very solid position. It's just going to come down, I feel, to whoever manages to get the first ace, and from that, the first Baron. Although, British Tea Time are going to have a lot of troubles actually making anything happen if they don't take down the entire enemy team in one go.
Yeah, and we look at this, I mean, as I said, they shut down the Nidalee, took a third of the stacks away. She had 335 not too long ago, about 5 minutes before that happened. Now she's at 403 AP, and that's a lot of AP stacked onto one champion right now for 28 minutes into the game. That's why that Magi Soul Stealer is not all that important right now, after she's been allowed to get to a point where the rest of her items kind of just make up for that. That's just extra bonus AP that she's got. She's throwing spears from so far back that they are pretty much landing at full range when they do, and then it's just very difficult for Taylor and company to try and stay on top of dodging that. They pretty much have to split anytime a spear comes forward. You can see Nitrix trying to just hide behind a minion wave, and that's not something that a Zed would normally want to do all that much. He'd want to be right out the front trying to get into that backline. Snipify has finished, as we said, that Muramana earlier has the Spirit of the Elder Lizard and the Sheen, so it looks like he's going to be going for the Iceborne Gauntlet next, which I think is the best pickup for them when running with that Nidalee. Baron has been aggroed onto Taylor. He's going to pop that shield and get away without taking any damage. And the minion kills advantage, you look on the side of British Tea Time, 216 in the top lane to 122. Again, 2,500 gold in that lane. Mid lane, 242 to 160. 2,500 gold there. Taylor looks like he wants to go aggressive. Depth charge has gone down. Elise is forced to repel out. Gets over to the Wraith camp. Looks like there's going to be a disengage.
Yeah, I don't think British Tea Time are going to want to fight without depth charge, but it does actually look like they're going to stick around. Their bottom lane is pushing really hard, but now we have the problem of the death ball. In the mid lane now, pushing forward, they're going to be pressuring this mid as hard as they can. They know that Nitrix has probably gone to stop that wave at bot. He will clear it quickly, he will get there quickly in turn, but the question is whether Absolute Legends can put down a bit of damage onto that mid tower before Nitrix can get back. And obviously, the other question is when depth charge is coming out. We have got another minute, and Abyss is actually now rotating to what that Baron. It does look like they're going to clear that one out, and then obviously look to force it. It does look like they don't intend to actually take it, though. They're just going to make British Tea Time panic a little and make them run to stop it. Although, actually, they haven't even cleared out the ward in front of it, so not even going to be doing that.
Yep, they didn't clear either of the wards there, so British Tea Time saw that they weren't going to be engaging on to Baron, so they're going to cautiously approach the area, and Nitrix feels confident enough to drop down to that bottom lane to make sure it's being cleared out. Elise picked up a Warmogs a long time ago, and that's why she's been so difficult to kill in these team fights. 7, 2, and 4 has given her the gold to pick that up, and a Blasting Wand alongside it is going to amplify that damage with the Haunting Guys and the Sorcerer Shoes. Home Guard has been picked up as well, so she's going to be able to get back from the base every time she recalls to get back into the fight even quicker. Nitrix trying to bait maybe Elise into the rest of his team, but they've drifted over towards the mid lane. It looks like Taylor has gone aggressive. There's the flash and the depth charge into the dredge line onto Bano. Can they manage to catch up with him here? He is quite a way ahead. Odama has been taken very low in that bottom lane, and Nitrix low as well. Looks like they both want to disengage from it, of course. Now, Warmog's armor is going to do a lot of health regen now on to Elise, so she's going to end up somewhat favoring that fight when they re-engage. So Nitrix pulls back to his safe own jungle.
Nitrix does have the advantage. He has a lot of lifesteal. He's built Blade of the Ruin King and a Bloodthirster. And I feel that's actually a deliberate choice against this poking comp. They've actually got a lot of sustain on most of their members here. We have got that Sona, obviously getting the heals. They've got the Blade of the Ruin King on Varus. They've got, obviously, J&T Taylor, who doesn't have necessarily sustain, but he has that shield. So if he sees a spear coming, he can mitigate some of that damage. And obviously, he's pretty tanky anyway. Diana also has a shield, has the ability to just mitigate some of that damage. And it does look like, because Absolute Legends have gone for that dragon, British Tea Time are looking to rush this Baron. They are going straight in on it. They obviously are aware, but it's going to be interesting to see if they can get it down in time. They are putting down a lot of damage, but I don't think they're going to get it down before at least Bano starts throwing some spears out. Of course, if he hits Baron, that's just going to help him. Yarostar gets chunked to half health. We have got the engage here looking for it, but the Baron goes down. J&T Taylor takes it, and it does look like they're looking to disengage here. If this fight comes out from Absolute Legends, it's going to be a disaster for British Tea Time because they're already quite low. Ardamne is there putting a bit of damage down on J&T Taylor. It looks like J&T Taylor, in fact, is just going to sacrifice himself for the greater good, and it does look like he is actually just going to be chased down by an angry spider, but his team picked up Baron and quite a bit of gold with it.
Yeah, and he's drawn the team so far away, he even dodges the spear. So even though there was an unfavorable team fight, if British Tea Time would have taken it, Baron in favor of trading 1 kill away is not all that bad, especially when you're considering that, yes, it gives Elise another kill, yes, it gives her extra gold, she's finished that Void Staff now, but considering she was 7-2 already, I don't think they'll be too disappointed about that.
No, it's especially good because J&T Taylor took so long to die. Absolute Legends just couldn't really pressure anywhere. They committed so much time and so much manpower to making sure he didn't, execute himself or get away, that as a result they couldn't take any towers. They couldn't, go for that outer tower with their 4-on-5 advantage. So yeah, he's just going to be totally happy. I mean, of the characters to give Baron buff to, J&T Taylor on Nautilus is not going to be overly upset that he doesn't have it, whereas characters like Varus, characters like Nitrix, they benefit a lot from having that extra damage, whereas we are now seeing Ardamne. Oh boy, Yarostar, please don't face check that. He is actually going to get away just about okay. Obviously Cocoon whiffed and Bano is legging it.
Yeah, and when you consider that Cook My Sock has come up to this top lane to try and push, although there's the True Shot Barrage proccing that Spirit of the Elder Lizard, and it's going to burn through that wave very, very quickly. When you consider that the team that have been sieging up the towers as Cook My Sock goes aggressive onto High Switch, British Tea Time looked like they want to take down a kill, and High Switch got deleted from the map. Abyss might be caught out here as well, and as I was saying, British Tea Time are the team that have been sieging up. Looks like Ardamne and Yellowstar are trading as well. Dredge Lane is going to land. There's the Crescent Strike. Repel out. Nothing to repel down onto. So Ardamne is going to get picked up by Cook My Sock, and this is a very dangerous time. You can see Nidalee and Nitrix are trading, but that's so much damage has gone down onto Bano. That the death mark pops, deletes Bano from the map. British Tea Time are in siege mode, and with Baron buff on 4 players, that is a very, very scary prospect for Absolute Legends.
Yeah, you actually saw Nidalee there was chasing down Nitrix, who was on maybe 30% health. Oh, that hook. Not quite landing on Snipify, but Nitrix is free to take down this bottom tower. He's going to pressure the inhib tower, and the crescendo comes in. Snipify is now in trouble. He is low, but has got that flash and has got that arcane chip. The rest of the team are looking to put down some damage on this tower, but they will potentially seeing High Switch going for the re-engage here. He has gone in on Cook My Sock, though. That may not have been the best choice. Pale Cascade is going to keep him high and hearty, and Abyss going super, super low now. Going to be chased down as well by Cook My Sock. Bottom inhib tower goes down to Nitrix. Top inhib goes down to the team, and I think this is going to be the end of the game here. We have got damage going on down on Odian. He has got obviously some damage from that Zed, but it's not going to be enough to take him out. But the rest of the team, meanwhile, is pressuring that Nexus, and I think this game is now done.
And once again, British Tea Time face this blue Ezreal in this poke composition, and they don't care. A great performance from what was a close game by both teams. I mean, both teams looked very, very much up for that, but that Baron was so crucial to British Tea Time, and again, we say this in every single game they play. They are a team that, whether it's Taylor, whether it's Nitrix, whoever makes these Baron calls on, let's go do Baron, we can do it right now. They're clutch every game, every time they decide to do Baron. I think we've only seen it backfire once, and even then they went in for 3-on-5 and cleaned it up. British Tea Time got that game sense, and it's ended up winning them quite a few games.